Hola, Taboo Breakers. Bienvenidos a Taboo Talk Latina Edition. Yo soy Cynthia.
And I'm Jeanette, and here at Taboo Talks, we keep it real, raw, and rooted in our cultura. This is the space where we shed the silence, speak on the truth our abuelas were told to hide, and celebrate the stories that make us powerful mujeres.
We break cycles, honor our voices, and amplify the mujeres changing the game. Lo que nadie quiere decir, we say it here with heart, laughter, and healing.
Today's guest is a powerhouse, redefining what it means to be a woman in music.
She's a two-time Latin Grammy winner and the first woman ever to win Producer of the Year at the Latin Grammys back in 2018, and the CEO of Bric Productions. She's also a singer-songwriter, producer, and trumpet player who continues to elevate Latina voices in every note she creates.
Hola, welcome to Taboo Talks Latina Edition. We're so honored for you to be here.
Hello. I'm so excited to finally be here and get to meet you all and your beautiful audience. I think we're going to have an amazing talk today. I'm excited.
Yes, so are we. Can't wait.
Yes. Okay, so here at Taboo Talk Latina Edition, we love to start with this question. What taboo shaped your story, and how have you started to break from it?
I feel like a taboo story for me is when I was very young, I was told that I could only focus on learning one instrument. And I kind of like rebel against that from the very beginning. I started playing percussion, classical percussion, and then I wanted to play trumpet, and then I wanted to play the clarinet, and then I wanted to play different instruments. And in the conservatory that I was studying, they were saying, "No, you cannot. You're only allowed to do one thing." And then, like, I started kind of like rebelling against that. My dad kind of like helped me out. And then I started learning a lot of things. And it turns out that I had the capacity of learning multiple things at the same time when I was a kid. And that little thing helped me never shut down my curiosity, because that curiosity is what has taken me to learn multiple things at the same time. And often as women, people think that single-minded people or single gifted people expect you to be the same, but there are people who has capacity to do multiple things at the same time and succeed at it. And thanks to that curiosity, I switched from classical music to jazz, then to jazz to pop music, and then to music production, and then music production to being an artist and to do multiple genres. And I feel like that diversity has taken me really far. So that's kind of like the taboo that has shaped my career, and I was able to break from it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad that you rebelled
Yeah.
because I feel like you are who you are today because you didn't stay, boxed in that pressure of you only have to play one instrument. So I love that. Did you ever feel the pressure to kind of ever stay quiet? Was there any pushback when you were like, no, I'm going to rebel and learn other instruments?
Yes, when you're studying classical music, the way that the conservatories or the music schools um, are are designed for you is like, because it's such a complex instrument and such a complex kind of music that they teach you, that they want you to succeed at it no matter what. But most of the way that they are being taught, the kids are being taught, are very old school, and it's not reflecting how the kids are coming right now and what we are exposed to. So the way that I had to rebel against my own dad when I said, like, I don't want to be a jazz musician, I want to do other stuff. And he's like, okay, everything that I've done all these years, taking you to music school, now everything is going. Y yo como que no, you will see, watch. I had to rebel against many bosses who wanted me to stay in Venezuela, being the star of a band, but telling me that I was not gonna succeed if I would leave the country and go to study somewhere else and start from zero. So I had to rebel against people that I really care about, which was the hardest part of my journey. But thanks to that, I was able to find new avenues to express myself. And I feel like the conversation is women were we were raised to be socialized in a way that you can speak in a certain way, you can only expect to be in a certain way because you are a woman. Guys are being raised you have to be ambitious, you have to go and fight for that job. So I kind of like wanted to kind of like cut that from from my family history and be the one who is ready to fail as well. You know, I feel like we are too scared of failing in this life. And I decided that I was not going to be afraid to fail. I was going to try no matter what. And then thanks to that, I've been doing really good things, exciting for me. And I feel like it's kind of like a little adrenaline that keeps me going.
It is. And to me, it's crazy because I feel que nuestra cultura, right, is that cultural expectation, like you confronting your dad, it's something that we struggle as Latinas and as women in general. Like, I have to be the good girl. I have to make sure that I follow the path that they think it's best for me. And you bringing up the whole male dominated, that is something that I feel we all struggle with too, but we don't speak about it, right? Because we don't want to be the one saying things out loud that might hurt our families or what are they going to think about us, like we're constantly in our own head. But the fact that you had to break that is powerful and that you're sharing this with us today, because I know so many Latinas that we talk to every single day that they're struggling with this.
Yeah, I feel like it's a set of many things. I also grew up in a Christian family, la rama cristiana latinoamericana. I don't know how to say that in English. It's very strong because, you know, it's very straightforward in terms of like black and white,
Yeah.
whether you are here or not. So I struggle my whole life in terms of like try to understand the contradictions of the religion that I was being taught against my relationship with the spiritual world, which is two different things, right? But those little things really help you shape who you are and the decisions that you're going to make in the future. So I had to break a lot of things, a lot of taboos in regards to my spiritual life, in regards to my family, the things that I wanted for my life, the things that I wanted to do for myself, not only as a musician, but also as a human being. So you have to be brave in order to make those decisions. And sometimes you're going to spend some seasons where you don't talk to a family member, and that's totally okay. Sometimes you are not going to be in the center of what the people is talking about your music. Sometimes you're going to be hiding, trying to, you know, put the pieces together of trying to find who you are, right? Like it's really hard as an artist to make a piece of work that is gonna be out there and people is gonna connect. Like if you're not being genuine in the work that you're doing, if you're doing it because you have to, because there's some deadlines, like I feel like the heart of an artist, it has to be relevant for you, and you have to be true to yourself in the piece of work that you're doing. Otherwise, people is not gonna connect with it, and it's not gonna be relevant. I believe.
I love
I love that, yeah, and looking back, do you think that taboo changed the way you see yourself now?
Absolutely, because that taboo helped me respect my own intuition.
Mm, I love that.
It's you have to be brave because sometimes your intuition is gonna take you to places that you're gonna be scared.
Yeah.
I recently did a project that I'd never thought it was gonna materialize. And it's one of those things that I'm a huge journalist. Like I like doing journals every day, or at least when I have the time to do it. And in those journals, I kind of like protect my inner child. That is where all my dreams comes from, right? And one of my biggest dreams, but it has been my secret dream, is the fact that I wanted to do film. I wanted to do more films, whether as a director or as an actress. I never acted in my life before. And then I was casted to do a movie with an Oscar nominated director. And I left in Mexico for 3 months. And I was casted as an actress who is playing the trumpet. So those things I remember writing in my journal since I was a kid, like there must be one movie director that is writing about a trumpet player. And then it happened many, many years ago.
Wow.
So it's never going to be as you imagine, but it's going to be better. It's going to be better than you imagine because it's going to be at the right time. Um, and you're going to be prepared to receive, right? So, yeah, it's beautiful. And I feel like that's the message I always want to give, especially to kids. This world is so full of noise nowadays, right?
Yeah.
But if you teach the kids or the people who's starting a music journey or an artistic journey, it's gonna be freaking hard. The world is not getting any easier or any better, but you have to stay true to yourself and you have to stay true to your vision and believe that it's gonna happen. Say yes. You want that, you're gonna get it. Maybe you're gonna get it when you're 80 years old, but maybe that version of you when you're 80 years old is gonna be the best version of you to receive what you have asked.
Mm,
Maybe it's gonna be tomorrow. You just have to believe no matter what.
Wow, Ella, thank you for sharing that because I
yeah.
feel like you spoke to my younger self. I did music growing up, and I was very close to signing a record deal. And I want to get emotional because I wish I had somebody like you that spoke words that I felt that I wasn't alone in my journey. And because I didn't follow through with their expectations, the contract fell apart, the manager fell apart, and then I just simply didn't have the support in house, right? So little by little, I just follow a different path, different dreams. And sometimes we need, especially for this generation, to remind them that they're not alone, but that they can follow their dreams, that they can keep going. So I feel like you spoke to the younger self, the healing version of me that hasn't healed from that music aspect, to remind that, you should keep going. You should have not given up. But guess what? Now we're here to break that mold for the next generation.
Thank you for sharing that story. And I was talking with my therapist yesterday, and I was telling her something very personal. I was telling her that I feel scared when a major artist release a record that is gonna I know is gonna break down everything, but it's intimidating for an artist like me to see that and not fall into comparing myself. And she was telling me that it's very important for people to understand that this is kind of like a game. The music industry, the words of politicians, it's kind of like a game. And that game has rules and has a set of rules in order for you to be a good player. But the reality is that many people take too seriously that, and they forget that this is a game, this is a job. This does not define what life itself it is. And sometimes we feel like our value is made out of what you're capable of doing and your definition of what success is. So that really touched my heart because sometimes as an artist, I forget that I'm a human being first. And I tend to be worried about I'm getting older. I tend to get worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. And she was telling me that she has many patients that have gotten all the success, all the money that they wanted. And then when they got there, they were like, oh, I thought I was going to feel different when I got this. I fought so hard for this. Now I want to do something else.
Yeah.
Or I'm bored. Oh, I didn't. So the thing is like, it's the journey. So if you want to restart your music career, I feel like you definitely can do it. I know I have many examples. For example, Sia, she started her career late in her 50s, I believe. And she was like a ghost writer for Rihanna and many artists and people that don't know that story. But she decided to start when she was ready. Maybe you're ready today to restart your music career.
Thank you.
So it's never late for that.
Absolutely. No, it's never too late, and I feel that conversations like this sometimes either sparkle that thing within you that says, I can do it again, or simply the healing phrase that we never get to do, especially in Latinas, and going to therapy, like you just mentioned, is something huge that we don't do, right? In nuestra cultura, we should break that because just like you think that sometimes you're not worthy, you're not good enough, or you're such an inspiration to us, right? And everything you've accomplished and everything you've done, and to see how vulnerable you are here with us, it opens our hearts too. To know that there's still hope out there and that there's people like you making a difference. So thank you for that support and words.
Thank you guys for creating the platform to talk about life,
Yeah.
filosofar.
Yes, yes, especially for the
And
next
I
generation.
I love that you said when you were little, you would write in your journal that you wanted to be in a movie, and then it finally came. And you were saying like, someone out there is going to need someone like me. Isn't that so beautiful? So I just do you think now was the perfect time rather than, let's say, 5 years ago? Do you think you would have been ready 5 years ago versus now?
Now, I have good memories of when I was in church. I remember a bunch of old ladies would pray over me, and I remember one very humble lady. I remember she this is kind of a spooky, but I believe in those things. She
Yeah.
didn't know how to read, but when she will open the Bible, she will give you the Bible and she will make you read it, and it was something that is supposed to be for you. Creepy. And that lady, she was going blind and she told me like, God is gonna give you everything that you're asking him for because he likes when you ask for big things. He likes it. But he's gonna give it to you in his time when you're ready. You're impatient. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, I'm gonna get it, but when? That's the thing, right? So I
Yeah.
wrote in that journal believing that it was gonna happen. I remember writing like a fake story, like I was acting with Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington, and I was happy about it. But then I started to be involved in certain things. I remember appearing in an episode of She's Gotta Have It with Spike Lee. And I remember him asking me, what's your favorite trumpet player? And I'm like, Miles Davis. He's like, real? And I'm like, you gotta write something for a trumpet player. And he laughed. And I'm like, okay, when is this gonna happen? And then I auditioned for someone found me on the subway. I was like playing the subway, messing around with a musician. I was coming from school and then I took my trumpet and then somebody saw me and she was like, oh, I want you to audition for a role. And I auditioned and I got it, but
Wow.
it was like a Broadway musical that they intended to do. And at the end, they didn't get the money to do it. And it didn't happen. So I have in life some attempts that it was going to happen until one day a friend of mine told me like, hey, look at this casting. They're looking for a trumpet player. And I'm like, well, it says that you have to be based in Mexico. Do it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I was in Cancun. And then I auditioned. They give me the call back and then they disappear for 4 months. They reappear again. And I'm like, hey, is this going to happen or not? And then at the end happened. And when I read the script, it was unbelievable. It's the story of a trumpet player that is a rebel, but at the same time she's an empath. And I mean, of course, I cannot tell many details about the character yet, but she plays the trumpet. And it's crazy because I actually had to be a professional trumpet player because I had to learn the music. I had to play all the positions in order to act. So it's crazy because, yeah, 5 years ago, I wouldn't been ready for that. I looked so different. My life was so different back then. And the harder you fight for things that are not meant for you, the longer it takes for you to get where you need to be.
Oof.
Mm.
So do not fight against it. If the things that you're praying for or the things that you are hoping for are not getting in your time, do not fight it. Just give up, surrender, not give up, surrender to the process.
Yeah.
Because when you get to that place, you're going to miss the journey, el camino que caminaste, no? So, yeah, I would have been the same 5 years ago in order to receive what it was meant for me.
You
I
have
love
me since
this.
we started erizada. I get
This is like
goosebumps
therapy.
word after word. This is
Well, you guys are making the right questions. I'm being blessed by you too.
And congratulations, congratulations,
Yeah.
because I know how hard you've been waiting for this moment and working towards it. Like you just spoke about like seasons, right? We have to learn those seasons, whether it's surrendering, letting go, whether it's being more patient, focusing more, working harder, right? Like we need to be patient through those seasons, which I know is the hardest thing to do, but it's the best, right? Because it's the most rewarding one. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing that with us today. We can't wait. We can't wait to support you on that once it gets released. So definitely let us know.
Yeah, for sure.
So now, Ella, we read your article with Al Dia. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember, but your story was incredible. from El
Mhm.
Sistema in Caracas to becoming the first woman ever to win Producer of the Year. But you talked about how early success, right, like we've been talking, came with sacrifice, even losing part of your childhood. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I know growing up, like we said, in a disciplined, male driven environment, shape a lot your relationship with music. But how did that happen, like when it came to your childhood? Like, can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, when you start early in music, you learn many things that are beneficial for you as a kid, especially like your prefrontal cortex is not well developed yet. So when you give music education or any form of art, you really help your brain as a kid to develop in different ways and faster, right? Which means for me that I had to learn many things fast and I had to prioritize knowledge and the information that I was given to my body versus just doing it at a normal speed. When I say this, I said that it's like I was exposed to things that a normal kid is not exposed to, which it made me grow up faster. And I was exposed to being in touch with adults and kids that were older than me, which helped me quickly adapt. But I also had to sacrifice a lot of the playfulness of being a kid, right? I didn't play with dolls. I didn't have like regular, pijamadas con mis amigas. I was pretty much focusing on music. And of course, I had friends in the music, in the orchestra, and all of that. But they were older than me. They will always have adult conversations. And that really kind of like took a little bit of my childhood because I had to learn how to mask at an early age to be something that I was not. And I didn't know who I was for many years. So I had to be something in order to be accepted in certain circles. And that made me like a perfect actress for the life at the time. But that doesn't mean it was good for me. So I had to go through a lot of painful situations where I didn't know who I was. And I feel like that happens to many of us in Latin America, especially women. I feel like we are taught how to be kind, to be soft. And in that process, we forget to listen to ourselves, to listen to your body, and you start acting como con inercia, ¿sabes? We become like robots. Yes, sir. Yes, mom. Yes, yes, this. But we don't know how to say yes to ourselves.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much how my process and what I was referring in the article.
That's amazing. And I want to touch on two things. I want to touch on your mental health because I'm pretty sure, como tú mencionaste, I'm sure it took a big toll on you. And I also want to touch on how did you begin to reconnect with the girl who missed out on those experiences, right? Like a normal childhood. How did you learn how to reconnect?
Well, I learned how to reconnect not so long ago. I read this book, The Artist's Way. I did it 2 years ago when I was on tour with Carol G. And I came in a point in my life where I needed answers. I knew I had the answers within me, but I needed a little bit more consistent work that will give me the answers with actions. So for the first time, I did something with an intention, meaning The Artist's Way is a book that you have to do homeworks pretty much throughout the whole book. And if you don't do the homework, it's not gonna work. The method is not gonna work for you. So I did this book with the intention, like if my life depend on it. So part of the homeworks was write 3 pages every day before you wake up in the morning, before you check out your phone, or at night, whenever you had the time, you do it every day. You have dates with yourself every week. And some homeworks, it's just, jugar con plastilina o comprarte algo o ir al cine sola o salir a caminar. And those simple things help reshape my brain into remember that discipline is good, but you have to feed your inner child no matter what.
Yeah.
You had to feed it. You had to feed it, like, you had to make it fun for you. And that idea, at the beginning, I find a conflict because we also feel guilty when we do things that are good for ourselves.
Yeah.
I wanna stay in bed the whole day. We feel guilty, like, "Oh, no, I'm supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be cleaning the house. That's what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do. I'm procrastinating." And we find these ideas in our heads that are not beneficial for you. So I had to start learning how to surrender beliefs. Like, if I wanna stay in bed all day, I'm gonna stay in bed all day. That's what my body needs, okay? If I wanna buy that thing, I'm gonna buy it because I deserve it. So I started, like, changing the language to myself, the way that I was speaking to myself. So that book really was a life-saving process for me, and it helped me unbox a bunch of piece of work that también empezó a salir cosas de mí que tenían que sanar. Eh, a veces we're too vulnerable to read ourselves. So when I finished the book, one of the exercises is to read your pages. And I couldn't believe all the things that I was writing there. And I couldn't believe, like, at the beginning of the journals, I'm like, I was being so mean to myself. I was being so hard on myself. Wow. Ever again. I want to be in that space again. But that's part of the journey as well. So I feel like that's pretty much the book that helped me and also helped me find all the answers about myself.
The book, I actually started it a while back, and thank you for reminding me that I need to get back to it because that book actually taught me about spending time alone. Because I would look at people and I would be like, ay, pobrecito, like, I wish I can sit with them. Like, I would look at it as a bad thing that somebody's eating by themselves, right? Or somebody's just
Yeah.
alone. But then I reflected, and now that book made me realize, like, I need time for me, like, just for whatever it is, to grab coffee, to just sit down by the beach, to have lunch by myself without phones, with any communications, no conversations, just alone. And the reflection of the healing, that it's crazy that we never get to fully heal out loud. That's a great reminder because with Taboo Talks, that is something that I feel that I'm starting to be louder about because of the platform, because of people like you that allowed us to remind us that no matter what stage you're in or what season, we're all going through something and we're all healing through something.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I started, like, many years ago, and I stopped. Many people had experienced the same thing. So if you're gonna start doing it again, you have to do it with an intention. My intention was I have to do this because my life depend on it. That's how serious I had to get. And I did it with that intention, and then I was addicted to it. And
So
I was never the same. I was never the same. Dochi, the key of her success was the artist way as well. She started doing the artist way and she started posting every single week in YouTube of the exercises. And then 2 years after, she won the Grammy for Best Rap Album, which is
Wow.
a masterpiece. That album is a masterpiece. Thanks to that freaking book. And many artists have done it. And it saved my life. It saved my life.
it's a really good book. Thank you for the reminder. It's
And
really
we'll link it in the bio, in the show notes for anyone that wants to, like, take a look.
I'm gonna go back to Taboo Talks this next year at the same time, and I'm gonna check if you guys did the book, and I'm gonna see how it
Yes.
impact you. I'm challenging
we
you.
need that accountability.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and, like, hey, tell me, how was it?
We're
Yeah.
gonna do an episode just on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's crazy that you say that because I have not read the book. I haven't done the exercise, but from what you guys are talking about, it's almost like reconditioning, rewiring your brain, if I'm not mistaken. And it's funny, Jeanette, that you said, like, when you go out on, on coffee dates by yourself, you would feel bad that the person's sitting alone. For me, and I don't know if this has happened to you girls before, when I'm by myself somewhere, I feel like I'm gonna be judged. Like, why? People are gonna start thinking, like, why am I by myself at this coffee shop? Isn't that crazy, right? When you think about it, how silly does that sound? But that's the thought that first comes to me. Like if I go to Starbucks by myself and sit down, my first thought is like, "Oh my god, what are these people gonna think?
Yeah,
Sola,
easy.
drinking coffee? Like who cares?"
And they
Right?
really don't care.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like nobody else is thinking about this but me.
Yeah, the other day I was seeing a video from TikTok, and I learned this exercise whenever I'm in a place where I'm feeling shame of any sort of way. I do this to my heart, and I try to talk to my inner child. I know it sounds crazy and may be more embarrassing than sitting yourself eating alone. And I talk internally to my girl, and I say like, "Don't worry, you don't have to deal with this by yourself. I'm with you. You're not alone anymore. I'm taking care of you." And that exercise, I have to do it in embarrassing situations where I feel vulnerable, where I don't feel safe. And it has been working because in my case, my biggest issue was that I didn't know how to be alone. Instead of like, I'm embarrassed for them to see me alone. I wanted to get to that point because I kind of like I have many friends who were doing like a sobriety journey, or they were doing on a specific diet, meaning like fasting or journey of spiritual things. And I will see them, and I will see them as strong, as like, wow, you're doing that. How do you do that? But a part of me wanted to find the key of their success and what they were achieving. And then everything is coming from within you. It's not going to come from something outside. It has to be worked from the inside. So I feel like the key is being brave enough to read yourself, especially when you're writing these journals, to not be afraid of writing those thoughts, those intrusive thoughts that are taking your energy. These thoughts are not paying rent. They're free in your mind. They need to start paying rent,
Yeah.
period. Period.
How
If we
much are
pay
you using that?
expensive rent in New York, they need to start paying rent because no. So I feel like writing it's helping killing the ants. You need to kill the ants in your brain and try to take care of what's living free without paying rent.
Yeah, because your mindset is your greatest tool, right? Like there's so much power, but if we don't know how to use it or we can't really unlock it to our full potential, then that's when people get stuck in the thoughts and the what ifs and maybe tomorrow I'm not good for this, I'm not enough. And there's so much power, like you mentioned, if we can really just control that, journaling, do those worksheets, right? Like to really
Mhm.
you undercover that because sometimes you just need to really talk yourself out of your own BS, right? And because nosotros somos the worst critics to always criticize like our next move or
Mhm.
thinking. So that is powerful. I love that. So true.
I love that. We have a lot of homework, girls. A lot of homework.
Exactly.
Well, let's switch the language. Let's say like we have a lot of fun activities to do.
Yes. Yes.
We have a lot of parties to go
Yes.
to attend.
Yes.
There you go.
Make it fun.
Okay, now, Ella, we know there was this powerful moment in your story where you said, "I didn't want to be known as Andres' daughter anymore. I want to be seen for me." And we know in our culture, especially as Latina, there's this taboo around separating, ourselves from family expectations, right? Sometimes when we start doing that, it seems that we're being ungrateful or rebellious, like you mentioned earlier. What did it take for you to step out of that shadow and own your own identity as Ella?
Well, it's a great question because I grew up having strong values about having to honor my parents until the day they die. Thank God they're alive and they're healthy. But I was too afraid of having my own voice because my dad became such a mentor to me. And he really did a great job in putting me in spaces where if I wouldn't have him, I would not think about, you know, conquering spaces where I was the only woman. He really was behind me in a way of guiding me and making the right decisions. And talking about the record labels, like I remember when I was a kid, many record labels wanted to sign me and he will say no, and I will hate him for life. And then many years after, I'm like, you were right. that this was a scam. Look at all those artists who are not, in a limbo because of these crazy contracts. You were right. So my dad was right in many ways, but I'm not a parent, but I cannot imagine being a parent and not wanting to lose that control over your daughters and sons because you want to protect them. You want to have, but you also come to a point where you forget that you gave them enough tools for them to be good for themselves. And that's a part of the parents of letting go.
Yeah.
So I feel like my dad, my mom, they were not ready to let me go in that sense. And artistically, I wanted to start making my own decisions. I needed a break from working with him. And I remember getting a lot of compliments about my singing or about this and that. And I remember that many of my process as well was with myself. It was a lonely process. And in that lonely process, my dad was being credited for the work that I was doing by myself. And that will piss me off. And at the same time, that will create a huge conflict because I didn't want to be disrespectful to him or my mom. So in the moment that I decided that I no longer wanted to be the daughter of, I knew in my heart that I wanted to change my name. So because I didn't want to be associated as Linda Briceño, the daughter of Andres Briceño, which is a renowned musician in my country. And then I started making bold decisions like I'm not gonna do jazz, I'm gonna do pop music now.
Yeah.
I'm going to dress in this way. I'm gonna be talking about these things that people don't talk about. And then I got a lot of rejection at the beginning and I had to do the same thing with the pastors in my church. And I had to spend time distancing from my family or from some friends in the past. And that was a grief process that I had to go through. But I had to be brave if I wanted to be true to my vision and to the dreams that I was given. So sometimes your dreams are going to come with a high price to pay. And I have to cut ties temporarily with people that I love and people who help me throughout the process. And I say this a lot in masterclasses that I give is like I'm a huge believer of mentorship, but a part of mentorship also is knowing when you're ready to leave a mentor and take the lonely journey. So I had to make the difficult decision for my good sake, and it was the best decision I ever made.
Absolutely. And I actually came across a quote this morning that says that is that when you're losing people or things, or relationships overall, it's because you're evolving, right? In order for you to get to that next level, there are things like you mentioned you need to let go of. And it's gonna be okay, but it's gonna be the hardest thing we have to do. And I
It's a
can
desert.
It is. And how about like now your parents' perspective? Like I'm sure you're the biggest supporters in your life right now, right? But how they see you and they probably really like recognize everything that you've been through and the person you've become today.
Well, you will think that what I love about life is that not all the stories are linear, right? And you will see, as you will say, like your parents are your biggest supporters, and the reality is like, no, they aren't. My biggest supporters are the friends that are with me, living in my process, my manager, my neighbors who have become my family here. I know my family, my parents, they're proud of me, but physically they cannot give me the support, that kind of support that fits me in order for me to keep going. I had to find that support in the family that I chose next to me. The distance also, my parents live in Venezuela, so we are very distant I'm not able to see my parents as much as someone that lives in Dominican Republic. And you can take a flight that is like 3-4 hours to Dominican Republic, right? I don't have that luxury because I come from a country where we're about to get in a war with the United States. It's almost impossible to take a flight that's not going to take 10 to 12 hours for you to get there. So it's a very tricky situation. So that's the sad part of the story. Sometimes I remember somebody asked the actress from Misery, I don't remember her name, But they asked her, what was your mom's reaction when you won the Oscar? And she started crying because her mom told her that she didn't thank her when she won the Oscar, and she felt guilty for her whole entire life. And then the journalists say, you actually did thank your mom. And they put her the video of the Oscar speech, which she was not able to see again after many years of winning her freaking Oscar. And she started crying, oh my God, I thank my mom. I thank my mom. And she started crying. Of course, her mom passed away. But sometimes we take life so seriously when it comes to honoring our parents that we forget that we came to this world with a mission, and we had to honor that mission regardless of the people who help you get you there. And sometimes that's really hard for you to understand. I grew up with this sense of responsibility to my parents, this duty that I have to protect them, to help them throughout. The reality is no, that God gave me, He made me a temple, and I have to honor what He gave me, including the gifts that He gave me. And if I'm okay, I'm gonna be able to help them. If I'm okay, I'm gonna be able to support my family in all the ways that I can. But I'm gonna do it out of love, not out of fear.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, that was very vulnerable. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know, so from your perspective, what advice would you give to other Latinas who are just trying to honor their roots while still creating, their own path like yourself?
Well, define honoring roots. Are you talking about work? Are you talking about
I guess
family?
cultural, yeah, family, cultural expectation, traditions, right? Because like you mentioned, that's always very hard as Latinas to break free from, right? Because once you do that, the first thing that comes to their mind as parents is they're being rebellious, they're being disrespectful.
Well, I feel like every story is different. Every situation is unique. The first advice that I can give someone is get a good therapist. Get a good therapist who is no BS, who is not getting the money just for you to talk like if you're in a monologue. Get a good therapist who is gonna help you make hard decisions so you get the right support. Surround yourself with people who eyes light up when they see you coming. This is something that I learned from this actor when he won his Tony. Slowest is the fastest way to get to where you need to be. And yeah, I feel like those three ingredients are key for you to break free from the things that are like tied you to a version of you that no longer serves you.
That's beautiful. And Ella, I just want to real quick before we wrap it up to the fun segment, thank you for sharing about your parents because it's the perspective again of hoping that the parents will be the biggest supporter and knowing that it's okay if they're not, but they are in a different perspective. That was just beautiful and it hit home to me in so many ways. And I'm sure it's going to connect with our audience too. So thank you for being vulnerable and being raw and real about it. It's not going to be all, Linear is not all going to be perfect. It's just
Hmm.
going to be right. So thank you for
No,
that.
thank you. Like, I wish I would have learned that earlier,
Yeah.
but we need to learn how to set boundaries to the people that we love in order to have a long standing relationship with them. I want to have a great relationship with my parents until they go. And the only way that I can do that is by learning how to respect myself.
Love that. And you're also showing the way for others to do it too, because you are. So thank you. Thank you for that. All right, now time for a little fun before La Tia Chismosa calls in. Quick fire style. First thing that comes to mind. So are you ready?
Yes.
If you could only pack three things in your Latina survival kit, what are they?
Chocolate.
Okay.
I cannot live without chocolate. My guitar and my noise canceling earpods.
She's like, wherever I go, I don't want to hear noise.
Yep.
Love it. I thought you were gonna take your trumpet, but you took your guitar.
Oh, hell no.
No,
Guitar.
While we were trying to do the question, we were thinking about she's going to take this or maybe she's going to take that. And wow, the total opposite. Love it.
I swear, I was like, I'm pretty sure she's gonna take her trumpet. So
He's
when
like,
you
hell no.
opposite, I was like, okay.
No, no, no. I'm so
I love I love it. Okay, who's one Latina you would love to share cafecito with, whether past or present?
I have two actually.
Okay.
I think Rita Moreno will be one. I feel like
Ooh.
it would be nice to have a conversation with her. Did they have to be alive or they have to be dead?
Either
Either
or.
or.
No, no, no. I feel like Rita Moreno will be someone that I would like to talk to
Now I'm
and have
curious,
a
who's the second one?
I know.
Tokisha. That would be a fun coffee to have.
Oh, I'm sure.
I want
Really
to ask her about her life. I want to ask her about what's in her mind. I'm so
curious.
curious. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
And
please invite us.
yes, and last
Yeah,
one.
please.
If you could produce for any artist in history, who would it be and why?
Wow. An artist. I don't know. um, I would love to produce for Whitney Houston.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Goosebumps again.
I would have loved writing for her and produce her to have her voice right there. And I don't know, maybe get her to sing something in Spanish, which I don't think she ever write it or sing in Spanish.
So,
I would imagine like an album like Christina Aguilera did in Spanish, who was such a big hit. My friend Rudy, he produced that album and la catapultó en Latinoamérica. I feel like it would have been amazing to produce an album for her in Spanish.
Mm,
wow, that's beautiful. I agree.
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Okay, ahora sí, la tía chismosa, because we all have that tía chismosa, the one that always has something to say, whether it's negative or positive. Ella, if your tía chismosa can see the woman you are today producing, composing, performing, and running your own company, what do you think she would tell you?
She will definitely ask me. That's all that she will say.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Anything, what's next? She just wants to
No,
be to the point.
she will ask me about my diet.
Oh my God, I love it. Yes. I can like hear her too. All these tías chismosa. They mean well though. They mean
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, yeah. They do the best that they could with the tools that they were given. So
Yes. Wow, Ella, thank you so much for joining. And of course, before we wrap up, is there any exciting projects that you can share with us? And where can our listeners find you?
well, you can find me on Tidal, on Instagram, Ella Bric Music, and Spotify. I don't know if I'm gonna have my music there for next year, but you can find me in most of the music platforms. Right now, I'm working on an exciting project which has to do, we were talking in the podcast, it's about connecting with your roots. For the first time, I'm doing music from my country, traditional music. And that is a project that is making me so excited about it because it has so many special guests. I'm producing it with Truco, an amazing producer from Honduras. He has worked with Residente, also co-produced with my friend Mafer Bandola, which is a traditional bandola player. So it's a route of rediscovering my music and who I am through learning traditional dances and traditional rhythms from my country. So I'm very excited about that project. It's going to come out in March. So stay tuned for it. Also, the movie that I act on it is going to be coming next May. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Great things are coming on my way and many performances in New York for next year for sure.
So exciting. All the success to you because you deserve it. Please, however we can help and support you, we'll make sure to write everything on the show notes. But Ella, thank you for being here with us today, for your yes and for being such an inspiration to us all. Keep shining, keep going because this is truly what you were meant to do.
Thank you so much to you. And we have an appointment next year at the same time.
We do October 20th.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
We'll make a note. We'll do a live session. What about that?
Yeah.
Do a live session. Meet you in New
Oh,
York.
I will love that. Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Thank you so much, Ella. And to our beautiful taboo breakers, this is your reminder to keep walking in your truth, keep breaking cycles, breaking silence, and breaking those taboo. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Y como siempre, chicas, we'll see you next time on Taboo Talk Latina Edition.